All right, so Big Digital, and thank you everyone for attending. We're a collection of crypto and Web 3.0 companies, and the business itself started back in 2015. It then acquired Netcoins, and then just recently purchased the rest of Terra Zero, which is a metaverse company. So we put 10 million into Terra Zero just over a year ago, and their growth has been quite impressive and quite synergistic, which I'll get into. But I'll tell you a little backstory just to show you how I date myself a bit here. But when speaking about the metaverse, I was hired in 1996 to build a team and build a virtual world called Planet City, where we sold our buildings to multi-level marketing companies. And we used real VR points. I don't know how old everyone else is on the call, but and those were used to actually navigate around the city. So kind of like Google Street View, but it was happening around our virtual world. And people could click and go inside a building. They then see products on the wall, click on the product, and it would pop up, allowing you to purchase it. And this was done all over 28 and 56K modems. And we did sell buildings. Again, it wasn't my vision. And at the end of the day, it turned out that that vision was maybe a bit of ahead of its time. But the market has shown that it's ready and willing to explore these new worlds and marketplaces. So I'll get into that a little bit more as we go here. So the parent company, Big Digital, traded on the CSE. Our first day of trading was December 1st in 2017. And in 2019 is when we acquired Netcoins. And but the Netcoins was a compliance first crypto was their tagline. Blockchain Intelligence Group was bringing cryptocurrencies mainstream. The idea behind that is without transparency, clarity, and the ability to provide regulatory oversight, cryptocurrencies just couldn't grow. And so that's what Blockchain Intelligence Group's about. And then, of course, Terra Zero being a metaverse company. We do have some smaller investments into Zen Ledger, which is a crypto tax organization. They also have some pretty impressive growth. And then Liquid Financial, which is a Lightning network, offering it to commercial organizations. And they're now the fifth largest Lightning network node operator in the world. And so some of the team, Dan Reitzik is our interim CEO. Dan and I have known each other since 2015. He actually helped us in the early days with business development. Kim Evans has been a seasoned CFO, has run public companies, been a director and an officer of a number of public companies, and really is our all-star when it comes to crypto accounting. Myself, serial entrepreneur, been in the tech industry since 1996. I've had a multitude of different technology companies. One of the bigger ones was a dot-com incubator in 99. We grew that to 120 people. We had a $400 million market cap. That company did survive the dot-com, but it did take us a little bit by surprise. And anyway, very interesting. And a lot kind of reminds me of those days to the ICO world that happened in 2017. Fraser is the president of Netcoins. He's been in the financial services with nearly 15 years of experience running challenger banks. Been over in UAE, London, New York, and got into the crypto industry about 10 years ago. And so that's his background. So Netcoins is designed essentially to get digital assets into the hands of everyday people. Netcoins is available in the United States and Canada on web and mobile. Currently, Netcoins is available in 17 states. In Canada, we were actually the first to work with a regulator, a Canadian regulator in a sandbox, and we provided them the outline as to what we felt would be the best regulations for a compliance-first crypto exchange. And then we applied to our own application, essentially. And so we were the the first out that's publicly traded that was licensed in Canada. And the Canadian regulators recently, matter of fact, last week, the CEO of Coinbase was praising the framework that Canada has established. And I think that is a little bit in part with our input. And so, of course, this will also help us as we expand out through the US. So the trading side of the business, it makes money during market volatility. People buying and selling through the ups and downs. The payment space, $1 trillion industry. And, as this fiat world and the crypto world converge, things are going to get quite interesting. So Netcoins has its own MasterCard, which you get 1% cash back. And then another service that differentiates ourselves from other players in the marketplace is staking. So it provides fees, transaction fees when people stake. And last I checked, we have about 800,000 in assets under management. But that's just been launched. So it's still growing, but something that, again, is a differentiator for us. Netcoins was established in 2014, initially offering OTC services. And Netcoins' objective is to build trust. We hold assets one-to-one, unlike what took place over at FTX. And Netcoins also performs proof of reserves. And this allows to verify that the one-to-one is actually taking place. We also hold client assets separate from operational assets. And this ensures the safety for individuals as well as safety for our investors. And if we look forward, we've filed our MTL in the state of Washington. And so that's our money transmitter license. And this we expect to receive in early 2024. And what this will do is will allow us to then market on Google and Facebook. Without an MTL in the US, both of those organizations just don't allow you to market. So commercials are expensive, and through online, it's a lot cheaper. And so that'll greatly reduce our cost of customer acquisition. Breaking down Netcoins, so there's over 40 coins that are supported, offered in both Canada and the US. The only thing not offered in Canada is USDT. Our regulators here won't allow us to do that, but we do have USDC. We have over 210,000 registered customers. And right now we're operating in 2 major cryptocurrency markets. We're rated with a 4.5 star on Trustpilot, and we have 77 million in Canadian in AUC. And we've transacted about 500 million so far. And again, we're 1 in 4 registered trading platforms in Canada that offer staking. And more recently, we got back into the OTC business. So we've just set up our sales desk. And this allows us to go after family offices, wealth managers, allowing for those types of larger trades. So we're quite excited about that. Now, Blockchain Intelligence Group. This is, of course, dear to me because this is what it all started with. And we are what Google is to the internet for crypto. And so we initially built a product called Clue. And Clue is our deep forensic graphing engine. Unlike traditional financial transactions, the blockchain is there. It's an open ledger, and you can go as far back in time as you'd like. And one thing about blockchain is it makes a great witness. And so, crime could have happened 3 or 4 years ago, but as time goes by, attribution can be added to those addresses, which then allow law enforcement to create a case and actually go after individuals. And so Clue is something that, our first account was with Homeland Security. The gentleman that signed the purchase order actually quit the U.S. government early and came to work for us. His name is Robert Whitaker. He still works for us today. And it's through his design and efforts, as he had 75 crypto and currency investigators in 2016, which were early days. And there were only two other tool providers out there at that time in the marketplace. And but he really liked how we displayed our information and the depth of data that we had, and decided to join us. And so today we're getting praised with the most easy to use interface. We are very granular in our data, and we're also a transactional based system. The industry leader, which I won't mention the name, is valued at $5.6 billion. And they're a cluster to cluster graphing engine. And in the early days, that worked. But in today's world, it really isn't applicable yet. We haven't seen them really make any moves to try to adapt their user interface. It was about a year ago when the crypto winter happened that we looked at where the market was at, and we really saw that law enforcement was where quite a bit of our funds were coming from, and where the market demand was at that point in time. And so law enforcement is great because they do have budgets, but it does take time to work through procurement processes and everything else. But we're now starting to see the results of those efforts pay off. Most recently, the words were Clue goes above and beyond. Another one from a large U.S. agency was that Clue does things that no other provider does. So, and this is all in the last quarter. So yeah, quite exciting there. And then as we went down the road, we realized that we had the depth of data to deliver financial services. And this is our product called BitRank Verified. So think of it as a FICO score or a credit score, but instead it's a crypto score specific to where the funds in the wallets have come from. So have they been on the dark web selling illicit goods? Have they been involved in human trafficking or child exploitation? Or maybe it's coming from a sanctioned individual or entity. And so this product is an API. It allows people to do a risk check on an address or a transaction, and depending upon the type of business, meet their regulatory obligations. So banks, exchanges, ATMs, custodians, all would have, in most countries, the regulatory obligations to use these types of tools. And then for the deeper investigation, they would use Clue. So these are both SaaS products. They are sold on a monthly basis, usually with annual subscriptions. Some of them have been as long as 3 years. And so it just depends on how they're trying to work us on pricing. But these are great products in the sense that build it and sell it to the masses. So essentially, we're selling picks and shovels. I mean, we don't transact in crypto in this division, but we peer into those and we provide confidence and the ability to vet those funds and provide evidence when needed. Recently, last March, we submitted a case to Homeland Security on a rug pull scam, and the evidence that we provided did not require any further work, and we received a public-private partnership award. We were the only public-private company there. There were many awards given, mostly to other law enforcement agencies. Actually, all of the rest were law enforcement agencies. And we did help them recoup $1.1 million in investment funds, 2 individuals out of California. And they were just getting ready to launch a second rug pull scam. So we could have even saved much, much more. Clue itself has been recognized in South Africa. As a matter of fact, we set case law there, and it's now recognized in all of South Africa. I know South Africa's a little smaller, but it's still a point to prove that that Clue has been successful. We've also been successful in the state of Florida, Texas, California, and I'm sure that there's many more successes. But we only get feedback when we happen to be chatting with customers and they bring it up, or investigators. So. Those are some of the ones that we for sure are aware of. And so as we went down our journey, we realized that we kept getting requests for training. And as you can imagine, in late of the last decade, there was a lot of different organizations. So law enforcement, regulators, C-suite. And we were in Hong Kong in 2018. And HSBC asked us to come in and train them. There was 90 people in the room. They had a speakerphone in the middle of the big boardroom. And at the end of the hour and a half, we found out that there were 900 people in that room. So just under 1,000 people that we trained. And they said, this is awesome. We want you to travel the world, train all our major headquarters. And we realized we just didn't have the manpower. So we built our crypto investigator training platform. What I like about this is it's a modular-based, self-paced program. The training is for our first 5 courses is about 6 to 8 hours. We do have 3 other modules. The next one's about 2 hours, and then an hour on DEX and DeFi. And then the last one that we just released is about 6 hours. And so it's something that makes money while we sleep. And it's also a soft way to getting our brand in the door, becoming a thought leader of this space. And then, of course, we also do show our tools. It is a tool agnostic training program. But we do use our tools to show how to perform investigations, and then we actually get them into the tool to play around with so that we start to create that stickiness value. There's so many logos that, of course, we couldn't fit them all on this page, but it's been amazing all the way to the executive director of Morgan Stanley. When we can get testimonials, we do post them on our website. We're always expanding our courses. Right now, we're working on modules 9 and 10, which will be part of our Certified Cryptocurrency Investigator Advanced series. So that'll be the next certification course. The Advanced Ethereum that we just launched is also a standalone certification. This last week, we've seen 3 testimonials come out that were just glowing reviews and great praise for us. So we continue to get great feedback, and we constantly go through the initial 1 to 5 and update them. As you can imagine, there's a lot of moving things and parts happening, and we want to make sure that nothing gets stale. So every quarter we do review those as well. But there's still companies that are really just needing to understand what is crypto, how are the listed actors using it, what's the evidence left behind, and then how to perform an investigation. And then we get into advanced obfuscation techniques. And so that's what this is all about, is just to allow for a level playing field, but allow also people to become specialists in their industry. And now the most recent addition to the BIGG Digital Assets family. So TerraZero, their objective, they initially purchased land in Sandbox and Decentraland, and their mission is to build branded environments for companies. And so this is a screenshot of Decentraland, and everyone being the brands that we were dealing with had the same sort of feedback. And they said, well, this metaverse stuff, it's really neat and great. It's a 3D version of the internet. It's a way to experience content and not just consume it. But there were challenges with these worlds. And so we asked these brands, what are the problems that they see? And it was, how to conduct commerce in it. If you're a big brand and you want to sell a product, you need to be able to collect payment. And today, only 97%, only 3% of the world use crypto. 97% of the world doesn't use crypto. And, the other problem for these big Fortune 500 companies is that they cannot have crypto on their balance sheets. The CFOs would, lose all their hair. And the problem with decentralized worlds was that crypto, in terms of attracting these big brands. And so where we see the metaverse going is the next version of the today's internet, or what we like to call Web 2.5. It's not quite Web 3.0, but this is the next version of today's internet. And then the other challenge that we found is when dealing with legal departments, and specifically around data and IP protection. And so how do you protect IP in a decentralized blockchain world? And so we took all that feedback and we went to work and built exactly what they wanted. And it's what we're calling the Introverse. And we actually own introverse.com. And the Introverse will be launched in Q1 of 2024. And this will be a way to offer for small businesses, consumers, and brands the ability to easily create their own metaverse type of experience but it's built on a Web 2 framework. And what I mean by this is it doesn't use crypto today. It doesn't use any blockchain today. And it is gameplay. It's standard web programming. We will still be able to offer crypto, but we really, for these big brands, for those guys, they probably just don't even want to touch it. But if crypto is something that they wanted to accept payment in, of course, we have that. And that's where Netcoins also can come into play. But it does enable commerce with Visa, MasterCard through Stripe. And the reason we do this is so that these brands can be eased into this next version of the internet, and consumers, they need to be eased into it. It cannot be a process or an experience where you have to figure out how to connect a crypto wallet and then manage a private key or figure out seed phrases and then figure out which exchange you're going to go open an account on to transfer funds into, to even be able to start in Decentraland or Sandbox. And so our first sort of what I would call prime time was that we built the Molson Coors Miller Lite Super Roll bar. This was even mentioned on the Stephen Colbert Show. And the amount of time that each avatar interacted with a participant was 26 minutes, which in the marketing world, it's unheard of. And that led to TerraZero attracting Fidelity International, PwC, Estee Lauder, Salesforce, Jimmy John's, and these top tier one brands, Warner Records. So yeah, really quite impressive. And the market is really growing. I mean, the numbers, if we look forward, are staggering. 4 to 5 trillion by 2030. Some of the consumer use cases, e-commerce being the most, live entertainment, education, the enterprise use cases, banking, professional services, telecommunications, media, and so it's really. I mean, look at the internet itself and how much money is generated there, and then move that into metaverse/interverse. And so with the Interverse, the way it works is you would simply click on a link. An example would be interverse.com/Lance Morginn, and you would be in my apartment. And that is sort of the new version of what we see social media. So instead of something like Facebook or Instagram, where you have a two-dimensional environment and you post pictures, message your friends, and tell the world, how amazing you are and your life is. The Universe will allow people to have their own apartment like they would with their own apartment. You'll be able to invite your friends or invite their avatars and their apartment to listen to Spotify, watch TV, stream Netflix, play games, do what they want. So it really is a new kind of social media. And we have a number of different revenue models that Interverse Pro will enable. And it's very similar to Wix. You all remember Wix in the early days of the internet, and it became something that everyone was using. The challenge was how to take a small business and without the programming skills or without, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a web development shop, the few that existed, how would you launch your own internet presence? And then Wix came along and allowed people to choose from templates, the style that they wanted. They could change a few things around, and the ability to plug in e-commerce such as Shopify. And now you have a small business e-commerce website. Well, Interverse it's the same thing. It's just a 3D world. And so these are, the next images here are our different apartments and environments that we will be offering to small, medium sized businesses and even the big brands. Some of them might want larger environments, but right now this seems to be meeting demand. So it allows them to choose a template, change things around. You can add a payment module, and now you can accept Visa and MasterCard. So it's not just to sell digital goods and virtual goods for your avatar or your apartment, but it's also to buy real world goods. And so these products you can purchase and they'll be shipped to your house. And the way we look at it is it's like the 80s. Nike had one way to sell you a pair of shoes. It was a store on a street or in a mall. In the 90s, there was a second way Nike had to monetize and sell a new pair of shoes. It was e-commerce and a website. And what we have now is the inverse. And this is the type of technology as a 3D way for Nike to interact with you and sell you a new pair of shoes. And really is the next version of today's internet. So these are the three companies that are owned by a single entity. There are some crossover. So, TerraZero will be attracting many visitors that are 18 to 35. And this is the same demographic that Netcoins is trying to attract. And as these environments are being loaded, we'll be able to show advertisements for different clients, including Netcoins, and be able to get in front of our marketplace and the customers we're trying to attract, which will greatly reduce our cost of customer acquisition. And the enterprise clients of the TerraZero that accept crypto as a form of payment and they need risk assessment, well, that's where Blockchain Intelligence Group is going to plug in. And as they go to do other things in the crypto world, now that they've already had exposure to our tools and our how we can help them, this is where we're hoping that will be able to be embedded and continue on outside of just TerraZero. And I have not seen any other company out there on the planet that has this collection of crypto and Web 2.5 companies. And so we're very uniquely positioned. And I guess, I don't know if anyone's been watching, but Bitcoin today just peaked over 43,000, just over a month ago in middle of October, it was trading at 16,000. So some pretty interesting things are happening there. Bloomberg actually just put out on .ca yesterday that crypto's going into a super cycle, and they think that it'll push Bitcoin above $500,000, which I'm quite surprised that they actually put that kind of prediction out there. But we're well positioned, very diversified, and really excited for what the future holds. And I'll stop there, just recognizing the time. So thank you all.
Thank you, Lance. There are already two questions in the chat. So first of all, how do you expect to be affected by the imminent approval of the spot Bitcoin ETF in the US and other similar ETFs that are most likely to follow?
Yeah, I think that's why we're seeing this increase in price. I mean, the halving, which happens every 4 years, is going to happen in April of 2024, which is a sort of a built-in catalyst in really causing supply and demand formula to take effect. But the ETFs, I think we're going to see approval in early of 2024 in Q1. And that is to unlock about $600 billion worth of investment that could potentially go into cryptocurrencies. And we can see the other marketplaces or in the traditional stock market, it's sort of rough out there. The last year has been really tough. And I think that with the halving and the natural catalyst built into there, that it's going to cause, and in conjunction with the ETF approval, is going to create a lot of attention for any publicly traded companies that are in the cryptocurrency space, anything that's involved with that environment. So I'm quite excited to see, and I guess, I think that that's also what Bloomberg is seeing as to why they think that there's going to be such an increase in the price of BTC, is that there's going to be a lot of interest in this marketplace.
And I think especially regarding Netcoins, how does BIGG assess the recent change in market sentiment and the increased allocation of capital into cryptocurrencies and crypto stocks?
Yeah, Netcoins has definitely seen a significant increase over the last 6 weeks in trading volume. And, people were just sort of waiting to sort of see some progression. And, crypto winter, along with recession, along with, no one says we're in a recession, but along with the global markets and COVID, I think really sort of made that a much longer cycle than it might have been otherwise. Definitely, I think people have been sort of keeping cash on the sidelines and looking for when's the right time to jump in. And the real crypto enthusiasts and the ones that have been in this space for the last decade recognize that this raise and increase in value was going to happen because of the halving, and have been buying in early, causing it to start to drive the price up. But now what we're seeing is all of the other people that have been sitting on the sidelines are saying, okay, I don't want to miss out. The whole fear of missing out is now taking place.
And with Netcoin's OTC trading planning to roll out an API trading solution in December, how will this enhance the trading experience for corporate and individual clients? And what unique value does this bring to the advanced clientele?
Yeah, so for the institutional side, having an API connected to our system will just allow quicker trades and automated trades, and being able to do things without having to log into our platform or to call one of our OTC desk people. So it depends on what they're trying to accomplish, but mostly it just allows to streamline those trade orders.